Okay, well there's the train. I'm going to move away from it to get away from the noise. And I'm actually going to go backward, eastbound along the line. This was what I reviewed, well, self-reviewed, reported on in the last update on the mainline project. Notice I've added the snow caps on the mountains here. That's the main change that's most noticeable. But there's one other little fine point I'm going to get to here, if this camera will cooperate with me. These mountains are so tall it's actually making it hard for me to move here. Yes, this is it. This little island here. I added this. I still have thought about doing more with it, like putting a little house on there or something. I can't decide, actually. But these are just little tweaks. What I wanted to show was the final section of the line of this division, which is north of the town of Skye, fictional town of Skye, because all of this is fictional, at least in terms of the route. Here's the freight train I'm going to drive again. And here it is. If we look at this yard here, this was only partially complete when I did the last video, and the scenery hadn't been done yet. I did complete the yard. It was the first thing I had to do. And then one thing I did was I changed the infrastructure to Santa Fe infrastructure rather than improvised New York Central infrastructure. So these signals are actually Canadian national signals, but they're very similar to what the New York Central used. So far I've been using them. These speed signs are based on those used by Czech railways, but I wasn't actually the one that converted them to miles per hour. These are actually included in Oron Trainz now, or at least Oron Trainz 2009. I don't know what the deal is in 2019, but this is where they end. And if we zoom up ahead here, the wooden ties and everything, because the idea is this is a Santa Fe only. Not that Santa Fe always used wooden ties, but the point is it's supposed to be distinct from the section further east. This is a tunnel here, and this tunnel was a way of putting a pretty rapid grade, very steep grade, without doing a lot of landscaping. That was just a trick that I used to speed things up a bit because I was getting tired of not finishing this. And then I went back to my usual corkscrew type of track construction here because I realized you don't want to spend the whole route in a tunnel. And I did make a point of putting it on a cliffside, though. So if we go down here, I think I'm going to get rid of this little mound here. I think that's a mistake. But it looks ridiculous. I'm going to fix this. Don't worry. If I release this, it's not going to be in there. But the idea is I have this big landscape out here. And so if you're up in the train, you get this view. See? And then the last station on the route is a station I decided to just call Summit, as if it's sort of on the summit of a mountain, although technically it's not. As you can see, there are some bits and pieces of the mountains here which are taller. But the idea is that this is sort of a resort, sort of a weather station, sort of an outpost of sorts up in the permafrost. And once you're in the permafrost, I mean, you're about as high up as any railway in the world, really, although there are a few in hotter climates that are higher than this. The elevation of this station is 2,500 meters. Just a round number. In feet, that's over 8,000 feet. Well over 8,000 feet. So there are actually parts of America where you wouldn't have permafrost at this altitude, but I got tired of building more and more line just to go further up a grade. And I've added some details that are appropriate to it, like snowmobiles. And these buildings were modeled with snow on them. These are either included with on Trainz or are downloadable from the download station. I don't know how many of them are included in on Trainz 2009. These Quonset huts are referred to as tank sheds in the database. I wasn't aware that I had them until I started doing research into building some Quonset huts of my own, and I realized I already had them. So why build them? But they call them tank sheds, in case you're looking for them. Alright, so I will get rid of this annoying mound over here, which I was not expecting to find. I've actually just discovered that mistake just now. So I'll fix that, and then I'll do the test run.